Welcome to Uzbekistan, a land of ancient cities, colorful bazaars, and jaw-dropping architecture. From the buzzing capital of Tashkent with its Soviet-era charm and modern flair, to the iconic blue domes of Samarkand and the maze-like streets of Bukhara, desert fortresses of Khiva. This country is full of surprises. In this video, I'm taking you on a journey through Uzbekistan, and I'll show you why this place that you might not be able to find on a map deserves a spot on your travel bucket list. I'll hit up the must-see sites, share travel tips, and give you a taste of what makes this place so unforgettable. You ready? Let's hit the Silk Road. Although to many it may seem off the beaten path today, Uzbekistan was once a vital crossroads of the ancient world. During the first millennium, no traveler moving between Asia and Europe could avoid this territory. The Silk Road strongholds of Bukhara and Samarkand were once a maze of mud brick homes, mosques, and markets. After Russia took over the whole territory in 1865, the city of Tashkent transformed into a Soviet hub, especially after the devastation of a massive 1966 earthquake gave planners a blank slate. So by the 1970s, Tashkent was all broad boulevards and grand buildings, a model Soviet city. And that legacy still lingers today, with a diverse mix of people and lively bazaars keeping the city's spirit alive. Just one quick note. As you travel through the country, you'll notice about 75% of the cars in Uzbekistan are white Chevy sedans. Chevys are so popular mainly because they've been made locally for years. In 2008, General Motors teamed up with the Uzbek government to start building Chevrolets in the country, which made them way cheaper than imported cars. Since the relatively recent death of its long-reigning authoritarian president, Islam Karimov, Uzbekistan has begun a wave of reforms that have sparked optimism both domestically and abroad and caused a lot of increased investment. And it's never been easier to visit this place. So first, a few travel notes. The vast majority of travelers to Uzbekistan tend to start in Tashkent and then progress to the string of historic Silk Road cities of Samarkand, Bukhara, and Khiva before moving on to other destinations. I did this as well. Although I traveled as part of a group tour and used a few private buses, all four of these cities are well connected by regular rail service. So let's get started with the capital city of Tashkent. With its population of 3 million people, it's known for its mix of modern and Soviet-era architecture. After you arrive, the first place you should visit in the morning is the Chorsu Bazaar. This is the beating heart of the city's daily life. Although much of the market is housed under a massive Soviet-designed blue-domed roof, this market is actually centuries old. The place is a sensory feast, bursting with colors, aromas, and energy. You'll find everything from meat, fresh fruits, spices, and traditional sweets to handicrafted goods, textiles, you name it. It's totally worth a visit to see a slice of real Uzbek life. You can chat with the friendly vendors and soak in the lively atmosphere. Go to the second floor of the dome to get a great view of all the action going on the main floor below. Amir Temur Square is one of the main gathering spots in Tashkent and a symbol of the city's history and pride. It's named after the legendary 14th century conqueror, Amir Temur, or Tamerlane, whose equestrian statue stands proudly in the center. During the Soviet era, it featured statues of Lenin and Stalin before getting its current name after Uzbekistan gained independence in the 1990s. These days, it's a popular place for both locals and tourists, and it's surrounded by major landmarks like the Amir Temur Museum and the Hotel Uzbekistan. This opened in 1974 as Tashkent's premier Soviet-era luxury hotel. Connecting Temur Square and Independence Square is Broadway, or Sailco Street, which is a pedestrianized boulevard lined with cafes, boutiques, and snack stands. It was pretty sedate during the day, and very little was open, but when we returned at night, it was alive with tons of food and entertainment options. For lunch, consider heading to the famous Besh Cuisine Pilaf Center to try Uzbekistan's national dish, Plov. Now, you're welcome to walk around the kitchen and take photos of workers using boat paddle-sized spoons to stir the jacuzzi tub-sized pans of plov, which is rice pilaf, typically with vegetables and lamb. The food was authentic, tasty, and affordable. Right next door to the Plov Center is the Tashkent TV Tower. For about $8, you can go to its lower level observation deck. This place looked like it hadn't been changed since its construction was completed in 1985. It was pure Soviet chic. Now, although the tower is 375 meters high, the observation deck is a bit lower at 97 meters. Using the rideshare app Yandex Go is ridiculously cheap. For example, my 20-minute ride from the airport to my hotel was under $3. But if you do nothing but take cars, you'll miss what I thought was the most amazing part of the city, the subway stations. The Tashkent Metro is Central Asia's oldest subway system and an architectural gem. It was originally opened in 1977 and was designed to double as a nuclear fallout shelter. So the metro was considered a military facility and had a ban on photography that lasted until 2018, which kept its beauty largely unknown outside the country. The system has 4 lines and 4 dozen stations, each themed and uniquely styled. Most feature a stunning blend of Soviet-era design and Islamic motifs. Marble columns, grand arches, chandeliers, and elaborate murals. I loved riding it, anticipating the surprise of looking out the windows at each new station. And the bonus, a ride of any length in the system costs 3,000 som, which is a bit under 25 cents. So a family of 4 could ride for less than $1. A few I particularly liked were the Kosmonautvlar station, inspired by space exploration with celestial designs and portraits of cosmonauts. The Aylishir Nevoy station is dedicated to a beloved Uzbek poet and writer, and it's also the station you would take to Tashkent City Park and the Tashkent City Mall. And the Mustaqilik Mayadoni station, which is close to Broadway and Emir Timur Square, was particularly elegant as well. Although there's a number of museums and plenty of other entertainment options, our time in Tashkent was pretty limited, so we weren't able to go too far in depth. From Tashkent, you can take an easy train ride to the second largest city in Uzbekistan, Samarkand. There's a high-speed bullet train that takes under 2.5 hours. But we instead rode the slower, regular train, but it only took about an hour longer than the bullet train, so no big deal. Samarkand was once a key stop on the Silk Road and a center of learning. It was one of the crown jewels of the ancient world. It still carries the magic of centuries of trade, conquest, and cultural exchange. The heart of the city is the Registan Square. It's breathtaking and one of the most iconic architectural ensembles in the world. The Grand Plaza is framed by 3 majestic madrasas, or Islamic schools, each built in a different century, but all sharing a dazzling blend of turquoise domes, mosaic tilework, and intricate calligraphy. On the left is the Ulugh Beg Madrasa, completed in 1420 by the Timurid prince and astronomer Ulugh Beg. It once housed some of the most brilliant scholars of the era. Opposite, across the square, stands the Shurdor Madrasa, built in the 17th century and famous for its bold facade decorated with tigers, which was a surprising choice in Islamic art at the time. And in the center, the Tilya Kori Madrasa, finished in the 1660s, served both as a school and a mosque. Step inside and you'll see the golden interior dome glittering in the sunlight. Tilya Kori literally means gilded. Together, these buildings create one of the most breathtaking urban spaces in Central Asia, a place that once welcomed traders, poets, and scholars traveling the Silk Road and still inspires awe today. This was once the public square where royals held court, scholars debated, and travelers rested. Today it's the beating heart of Samarkand's identity and a must-see at sunrise or sunset. In the 2 days I was in the city, I found myself drawn there at multiple times during the day and the evening just to see the way the light played on the tiles. A short walk down a pedestrian promenade is the Bibi Khanum Mosque, once one of the largest in the Islamic world. Although time and earthquakes have weathered it, the surviving structure still speaks of massive imperial ambitions. According to legend, it was built by Tamerlane's beloved queen during his absence. Right next door to the Bibi Khanum Mosque is the Siab Bazaar. Now here you'll find vendors selling crafts and trinkets to tourists, but it's also a real local market with everything from spices to bicycles. And with the silhouette of the Bibi Khanum complex rising just behind, it's a great place to pause, taste, and take in the energy of the city. Nearby is what comes in a close second to the Registan as Samarkand's most jaw-dropping places, the Shah Izinda Necropolis, one of the oldest continuously developed historic sites in the world. It began over 1,000 years ago with a single religious monument and expanded steadily from the 11th to the 19th century. The result is a vivid architectural timeline of an evolving blend of styles, techniques, and craftsmanship layered over the centuries. The complex was founded at a site believed to be the burial place of Qusam ibn Abbas, a cousin of the Prophet Muhammad. While the legend has endured, what's remarkable is how the site itself has survived through centuries of war, weather, and development. Shah Izinda's sacred status and its role as a necropolis has helped to preserve it. The continual additions, each respecting earlier structures, created a unique multi-level design of tombs, archways, and passageways where history interacts with literally every step. A short taxi ride away is the Gur-i Emir, the tomb of Tamerlane, or Emir Timur, the legendary conqueror who once ruled a huge empire from here in Samarkand. From the outside, it's hard to miss the gorgeous blue dome. It's one of the earliest examples of the style that would later inspire places like the Taj Mahal. Inside, the decoration is stunning. Gold-covered walls, intricate tile work, and a peaceful, almost mystical vibe. The dark stone in the center marks Timur's tomb, but he's not alone. His sons, grandsons, and even his teacher are buried here too. And here's the really wild part. Legend says anyone who disturbs Timur's grave will face disaster. Well, when Soviet archaeologists opened the tomb in 1941, Hitler invaded the Soviet Union just days later. Coincidence? Another short taxi ride away is a structure holding an 18-meter sarcophagus claimed to contain the remains of the biblical figure Daniel, revered by Muslims, Jews, and Christians. Samarkand's claim to Daniel's tomb is one of several. Others exist in Iran and Iraq. Folklore also claims that Daniel's body continues to grow by 5 centimeters a year, which would make him over 125 meters long today. Well, in reality, Timur likely had the grave extended to make it more difficult for grave robbers to access. Now, although Samarkand is touristy, most of the tourists I encountered were from around Central Asia. Honestly, I really enjoyed the city and found it friendly, authentic, and jaw-droppingly beautiful. From Samarkand, our group ventured north to Aydar Kŭl. Now this place is a bit off the beaten track. It's about 250 kilometers northeast of Bukhara, and it's a large desert lake that appears almost like a mirage amid the sands of the desert. We stopped at a local beach by the lake for a dip in the cool water. Now, for a slightly nomadic experience, there's a number of yurt camps nearby. Now, before you think we were roughing it, the one we stayed in had electricity and Wi-Fi, as well as an air-conditioned dining room. The clean desert sky is great for stargazing, and our camp hosted a local musician who played a traditional, kind of guitar-like instrument and sang some traditional songs for us. On the way to the camp, we explored the town of Nurata, known for its ancient fortress, attributed to Alexander the Great, and also its fish-filled sacred spring, which was revered by pilgrims. This region really isn't flashy or filled with luxury resorts or bustling bazaars, but that's kind of the charm. It offers something really increasingly rare. It's quiet space and unfiltered connection to nature and tradition in one of Central Asia's most serene landscapes. So from Aydar Kul, we drove to Bukhara. Bukhara is less a city and more like a time capsule, one that's been remarkably well cared for and preserved across the centuries. While Samarkand dazzles with imperial ambition, Bukhara moves at a slower, more contemplative pace. It's a place where the rhythm of life seems unchanged since the caravans first rolled in from Persia and China. At the center of it all is the Layabi Haus. It's a tranquil pool shaded by ancient mulberry trees, surrounded by madrasas and tea houses. Although it's typically filled with tourists dining around it, it's easy to imagine scholars and traders doing the same thing hundreds of years ago. It's the spiritual and social heart of the old city, and it's a great place to begin exploring. Just a few steps away is the Nadir Divan Begi Madrasa. Now, its facade is adorned with mythical birds and vivid tile work, which is unusual and striking, as Islamic art typically avoids animal imagery. That's one of the many madrasas in Bukhara that are as much cultural centers today as they were in the 17th century. Then there's the Po-i Kalyan complex, dominated by the soaring Kalyan minaret, which Genghis Khan allegedly spared because of its sheer grandeur. The minaret towers over the city like a lighthouse of stone, flanked by the Kalyan Mosque and the Mir-i-Arab Madrasa. The square here is a masterpiece where you can stand and feel the weight of centuries. Now, anyone who visits Bukhara will inevitably walk through some of the trading domes, which are a maze of vaulted bazaars where silk, spices, and jewelry once traded beneath the vaulted ceilings. Today, they still bustle, although now you'll find handmade carpets, embroidered robes, and antiques instead. The markets are all very low pressure though, and you'll seldom be bothered by overzealous merchants. It's definitely not Egypt. Another must-see is the Ark of Bukhara. This is a massive fortress that served as the royal court for centuries. Inside its high walls, you'll find a small city of museums, courtyards, and royal chambers. Outside is a large courtyard where the ruler would have observed executions and public assemblies from high on the wall. I thought Bukhara was really cool, although it seemed a bit too polished since almost every structure has a relatively modern restoration, but the warm people, amazing sights, and great atmosphere was wonderful. Our final stop in Uzbekistan was Khiva. Now, it felt a bit like a mirage come to life. It was an entire pedestrianized walled city that was frozen in time behind mud brick walls. I could definitely feel the Silk Road vibe lingering in the narrow alleys and tile-covered domes. Unlike Samarkand and Bukhara, which have modernized around their historic cores, Khiva's old city is a complete walkable open-air museum. The moment you step through its gates, through the massive clay walls, it feels like you've slipped centuries into the past, with quiet streets and a low-rise skyline pierced with minarets, domes, and wooden spires of mosques. The most iconic site in the city is the Kalta Minor, or short minaret. It's a turquoise-tiled tower that was intended to be the tallest in the Islamic world, but was left unfinished. Still, its vibrant, yet slightly squat presence has become Khiva's most photographed symbol. Wandering through the Ichan Kala, or Old City, you'll find the Kunya Ark, the former royal fortress and residence of the Khivan Khans. Within its walls are elegant courtyards, a harem, throne rooms, and a watchtower that offers panoramic views over the old city's sand-colored rooftops and blue domes. One of Khiva's most stunning buildings is the Tosh Havli Palace. Built in the 19th century as a luxurious alternative to the older Kunya Ark. Its name means stone house, but its interiors are anything but austere. Lavish tilework, carved wooden columns, and painted ceilings reveal the taste and wealth of Khiva's last Khans. Khiva is also known for its mosques, each distinct in style. The Juma Mosque is especially memorable, with its forest of 200 carved wooden columns, some dating back to the 10th century. Sunlight filters in through slits in the ceiling, casting shadows that move with time. All around, the madrasas, such as the Islam Khoja Madrasa and Minaret, remind visitors of the city's role as a center of Islamic learning. The Islam Khoja Minaret, slender and towering, offers the best views in town, if you can handle the climb. We did it. And although it was sketchy and very steep, definitely avoid this if you have claustrophobia or even minor mobility issues. But the view from the top is stunning. Evenings in Khiva are particularly special. As the sun sets, the walls glow orange, the domes soften to dusty blue, locals set up small stalls selling crafts, while travelers gather at rooftop cafes to take in the surreal skyline. Khiva may be the smallest of Uzbekistan's historic cities, but it's also the most intact, the most atmospheric, and some would say the most enchanting. Again, like Bukhara, Khiva's only fault is that some of its structures are so well preserved they almost look new. But hey, you can't just let mud brick age naturally. A 100-year-old mud brick home is indistinguishable from a pile of dirt. So from Khiva, we left Uzbekistan and crossed into the nation of Turkmenistan. Check out my video on that adventure if you're interested. The link is in the description. So here's a few practical travel tips and observations if you want to go to Uzbekistan. For travelers from many nations, if you're under 16 or over 55, no visa is required. Between ages 16 and 54, it's pretty easy to apply for an e-visa online. The typical route most travelers take is Tashkent, Samarkand, Bukhara, Khiva, or in reverse. Tashkent is your likely entry point since it has a large international airport. So how long should you stay? Well, assuming you're hitting the 4 big cities, aim for at least a week to 10 days to be able to explore at a somewhat relaxed pace. So getting around, a high-speed train connects Tashkent, Samarkand, and Bukhara efficiently, but book as far in advance as possible. It does fill up. A slower, but still pretty efficient train that I actually took also runs that route. Definitely download the Yandex Go rideshare app. It's reliable, easy, and works like Uber, but the rides are insanely cheap, like under $2 for a 10 to 15 minute ride. For when to go, I went in late June and it was hot. So I imagine spring, like April to May, and autumn, like September, October, are much more pleasant. For lodging, Uzbekistan has a growing number of boutique hotels, especially in old city areas. Look for restored madrasas or traditional houses with inner courtyards or family-run guest houses. Assume tap water isn't safe to drink. Stick to bottled or boiled water. Uzbek is the official language, but Russian is also widely spoken. English is common at hotels and tourist areas, but less so elsewhere. Google Translate will definitely be your friend. Although Western clothing is common in Uzbekistan, dress modestly, especially for religious sites. Women should bring a scarf for covering their hair when needed, and men should wear knee-length or longer shorts. But coverings are often provided free of charge at sites. The currency of Uzbekistan is the som. Cash is still pretty much king, especially in smaller cities. ATMs are pretty widely available, but carry cash outside of urban areas. Most hotels and larger restaurants do accept credit cards, but small establishments less so. Costs in Uzbekistan are very reasonable. Accommodation, food, and transport are all extremely budget-friendly. Wi-Fi is available in most hotels and cafes, but speeds can vary. So my verdict, I was surprised by Uzbekistan. There's so many wonderful sights to see, great tourist infrastructure, friendly people, and tasty food. What's not to love? I'm betting you're going to start hearing a lot more about Uzbekistan in the near future. Thanks for tuning in. A subscribe is sincerely appreciated and helps me to continue the channel.